Phil Robertson joins us now from Canberra. He's the former lead prosecutor of the UN International Criminal Court and is a deputy director of the Asian Division at Human Rights Watch. How unusual is what's happening now in Myanmar, Phil? And can you give us some context around what's going on the ground?
Well, quite clearly, this is a major offensive, not only in the north, but also in the west. The insurgents are actually now coordinating. We have the Brotherhood Alliance in the north. We have Arakan Army in the west, and the Chin National Forces coming from the west as well. They are coordinating also with People's Defense Forces, which are organizations that have come up after the coup that took place in February 2021. And now we're seeing a common cause between these forces of what is known as the Spring Revolution with the ethnic armed organizations. And it's a very, very serious challenge to the Myanmar military, one that they have not faced for many decades.
And can you give me a sense of how these various groups, how much power they're exerting in these areas they hold? Are they running the show? Are they in charge of local government? And how are they funded?
Well, very clearly, these are organizations that have just recently made major gains against the military. For instance, in the north, they've cut the main road between the Chinese border and the city of Mandalay. They're controlling a number of trade routes across the border from Myanmar to China. And the Chinese government, importantly, seems to be okay with that so far. From the west, Arakan State, I mean, these are areas in Ratidong which were predominantly Rohingya majority population, and the Arakan Army is trying to control those areas and push out the military completely. It is a situation where the military is losing control of the periphery. Increasingly, they're overstretched. They don't have the recruits to be able to respond. And so instead, they're using aircraft and committing massive crimes against the civilians. We're seeing, air attacks against civilian targets, which are quite clearly crimes against humanity and war crimes.
And do these various groups stand any chance of actually unseating the junta? And how do you see things progressing then going forward?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say in the immediate future, but I think that what we're seeing is a momentum is shifting away from the Myanmar military towards the insurgent groups. It's possible that that momentum may continue. And unfortunately, I think that the response will be that the military will be attacking civilians because that is its modus operandi, that it views people in areas that are under insurgent control as being enemies, and it indiscriminately attacks civilians. So these massive human rights violations that we've seen by Myanmar military aircraft attacking civilian targets, I think is probably going to continue. And that's something that needs to be condemned globally. That needs to be called out and investigated, and ultimately the military leaders of Myanmar are held accountable for what the Air Force is doing to the people of Myanmar.
Phil Robertson from Canberra, thank you. Certainly one to keep an eye on.